broadcast network, AfterBuzz TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AfterBuzz TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Lots of moving tonight. Hey, AfterBuzzers, welcome back to the recap of Astronauts Wives Club. Tonight we are covering episode 8, Abort, and we're starting off really happy, but it wasn't that kind of episode tonight.
Abort!
A little sad.
Abort!
You can find us all at AfterBuzz TV on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, everywhere. Download, like, comment. We love hearing what you say. We want to go over a few that you said last week. I'm your host, April Wissenhant, and I have tonight, of course, my lovely co-host.
Hi guys, how's it going?
The one and only
Khalil Boo Boo here. You can find me on Twitter and on Instagram at Khalil Boo Boo.
I didn't say it with you. That's
I know. That's why I looked at you. I was giving you the eye to let you know, like, it's coming.
I'll get it next
ready.
time.
Boom.
Y'all can find me on Twitter and Instagram at April Wissenhant. And we are so excited to talk about this episode tonight because we got loads of information, definitely different than any of the rest of the episodes we've seen, kind of. Tell me your initial thoughts, feelings. I know you felt a lot this episode.
I felt a lot this episode. There was a lot of sadness in here.
Yes.
Okay. And I'm a very happy guy. So I don't do sad. But I like Gus a lot. So it was like, I'm already sad because it was Gus and then everybody else is sad. You're not helping.
Right.
And now I'm even more sad. You know?
But didn't you like seeing the flashbacks of Gus where he was really happy?
It was very romantic. It made me want a girlfriend.
Okay, that's the funny thing though. So we have all of these like super sad flashbacks, and Khalil is like, "Isn't this so romantic?" I'm like, "No, it's sad. He died."
Yeah, but I mean, just their chemistry and like watching him, and you're like, I'm always here on Thursdays, and then
that was a strike.
It's actually your turn. Like, oh, come on, like that makes you like.
Gus has game.
Gus has game.
Basically.
Hashtag Gus has game.
This was one of the things that we've talked about throughout the show. You know, Sterling's not here tonight, but she said the same thing.
Hi, Sterling.
Hi, Sterling. We
love
miss
you.
She, none of us wanted to really like research, even though we know about the space race. We didn't want to like look up everything because this is obviously a show based on what happened.
Yeah.
And so last week we talked about like we were surprised that this happened. We expected death, but not in this way. And then in the comments, I found a lot of people, you know, someone even tweeted us a link to exactly what happened. Gus Grissom and Roger Chaffee and Ed White did indeed in real life die in this kind of situation. So I thought that was really cool. I'm trying to or maybe I'll find it in a minute on who tweeted it to us, but that this was something that happened because of communication error. And we see Deke later saying that. So there's a part of me that wonders kind of like what it's like for their families to really be reliving this. I mean, I hope.
Oh, yeah.
I hope
I
good,
didn't think about
though.
that.
I hope it's good.
How would it be good?
Well, because you see, you know, like they're reliving their glory. People are actually really finding out about what happened and the people behind it and that sort of thing. Okay, I'll look up this tweet later.
They were involved in the show though. Like,
yeah, so that's what I'm saying. I hope that they feel good about it and not like, you know, you see a lot of like Lifetime movies and people are like, that's not what it was like. So I hope that they feel like they're being portrayed accurately. Okay, before we get into basically what the episode was about, we saw our girl Reen again tonight.
Thank God.
You were very happy to see her.
I was excited to see Reen. She didn't, you know, she was wearing black, of course, given the occasion. But it's good to see Reen again.
Yeah.
And apparently she's been living in Houston.
Right?
She's got to be that big time publicist
or
writer.
So someone told us that it was 7 years later, but Alan says sometime in this episode, or it's his 6-year anniversary party. So it's 6 years later from the beginning. So from where we started the show. And we ended or I don't think we talked about it last week. Oh no, she wasn't on last week. So the week before, whenever they were moving to the Bahamas or Bermuda, I forget where it was, so that Scott could do his underwater research thing. And tonight, I mean, I was shocked. Tonight we find out when she sees him, or they're both at his funeral, he's like, I have a few days off. I want to go see the kids. I'll stay with Deke and Marge or something like that. And she's like, no, it's still your home. We're still married. Aww. You can stay there. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
I had no idea. I mean, clearly we said this last week. It feels like they're kind of trying to rush through things. Mm-hmm. And maybe this is something that they felt was necessary to kind of put out there, and that it's a real life thing. They like talking about the real life situation. Yeah. So.
But I don't know. I understand pursuing your career, but up and leave your family, that's kind of...
I know. He even built her the office. I
know.
So I'm like, why couldn't you have done it from there? He was trying to make it work.
Well, you know, again, they didn't have blogs, so she couldn't, like, write from home, which kind of sucks. But,
typewriters? Fax
yeah,
machines?
but you know, like, today, we, like, type something, put it on
and
Facebook.
Send it out.
Everybody sees it. And, like, 60s.
Yeah.
You type something and you have to wait for the ink to dry.
Right. There's part of me that wishes we would have seen a little bit more like of exactly kind of what happened with that situation, because we love her character so much.
Exactly.
But I guess there's not really enough time considering there's only 2 episodes left now. But so we see later they're at their house, and Scott says, or he had said before in the episode, that he hadn't had the chance to really read any of her articles, and that's why she moved back to Houston to write. And I mean, I'm not sure who she's writing for, but she's writing, which is what she wanted to do. And later back at the house, Reen walks in, and Scott is sitting on the couch reading her articles, and he says, you know, I realize now that this is you. I kind of thought it was an excuse, but no, this is what you want to be doing. And they embrace in a passionate love affair.
Kiss. Yeah.
Slash kiss.
Sexy.
It was.
It's for the 60s.
So yay, Reen and Scott. They are apparently not together, but
I know.
Maybe back together.
I don't know. That's still kind of weird to me. I mean, I guess people have to. You got to do stuff for yourself. I get that, but I don't know. It just seems a little weird.
But I'm also, I mean, I completely agree with you 100% in the sense of like, that's your family. You can't just leave your family
to write.
Or I mean, she brought her kids with her, but that's not fair to Scott at the same time.
Yeah.
But I'm also like, at least she stood up for herself in a time where women couldn't necessarily stand up for themselves.
That's true.
Right?
That's true.
Trying to play a little bit of devil's advocate, I guess.
And then, I mean, again, we know what happens. So she does become like what she wants to be.
Right.
So I guess it was worth it in a sense. But
sometimes couples need distance. I don't know. But anyway, they're back together. They're happy. They're in love.
Yeah,
cool.
I've never been married. I don't know. I don't have any kids.
I thought you had a few times.
No.
That time you went to space, right?
No. I was totally single.
Oh, dang.
Totally single.
What can you do? We'll make it happen. So tonight, last week we learned that, like we said, Gus and Ed White and Roger Chaffee died in a fire in the cockpit of the Apollo 1, which is the next rocket that they were kind of testing. We know Gus was the engineer. He said several times about how he wasn't comfortable, about, you know, how things weren't really working right. There's this company that NASA contracted to make it, and they're called North American. And apparently many things had gone out. Like we learned later, one of Gus's coworkers had written an entire memo about how this aircraft wasn't safe because they were using something called like Uralane 5771, which is a highly flammable product. And if it is in an area that gets too hot, it catches on fire. And so
California has that problem.
Yes, we do, apparently. So everywhere in this cockpit, or in the aircraft, I guess, they were using this. And so this guy wrote, we never learned his name because he has reasoning to keep his name private, but
Mystery Man.
He says that this is absolutely not safe. You know, Gus knew about it. Others knew about it. They tried, you know, Gus didn't want to do this test, but other people were pushing for it. You know, they wanted to do everything so quickly. We had to be Russia. We had to do this. And obviously, the 3 of them died. And Gus's funeral oh my gosh, it was so sad. Just, we see the president is there, which the president at this time is Lyndon B. Johnson, and he speaks to Betty. What up, LBJ? And, it's just so sad to see, like, not that I feel bad for saying this, and I don't mean it this way, but it's like, it wasn't even a mission to the moon. It was a test on land.
That is the part that sucks.
And this really happened in real life.
I mean, that is why we have tests, but
it
sucks.
It is, but at the same time, when so many people are saying, don't do this, when one of the people who are actually in the fire and dies is one of them, or the main person saying
don't do this.
It's too soon to do this.
Yeah.
It's just, it makes it really sad because, I mean, obviously, America does this, and a lot of countries do this with stuff, and you want to be the best, you want to be the first, but it's like
one.
we're humans and they're humans.
Yeah.
But
okay.
Apparently there was this, they keep talking about this communication error, and that teams weren't necessarily communicating all the way with one another because they wanted to be the best and they wanted to be the first.
They wanted to have the credit for making the discovery or responsible for,
going up in space.
Exactly,
or
to the moon.
Right. And Gus didn't seem that way. I mean, he seemed ambitious, but I don't know. But anyway, so all of the women, all of the astronauts, of course, come to his funeral. We see... it's the original Mercury 7, which is now the Mercury 6. They're carrying his casket.
It'll always be 7.
Yes, absolutely.
Always be 7.
And they, it's just, clearly it's a very sad moment. We don't see much of the other wives, but Pat is, we see later in the episode, she's distraught. And Betty seems to handle it pretty well.
It's those visions that she keeps having.
Yeah, because Betty's seeing Gus all throughout the episode, which I loved. But Pat, we can talk about her for a second. We see her, Louise, which, I really don't like Louise's hairstyle. Yeah. Just to be petty in this, very serious moment. I really don't like Louise's hairstyle tonight. But she goes to Pat's house and is, to check up on her. She brings her spaghetti bake, she calls it. And Pat is...
I wish I had that kind of friend.
I know,
just
right?
Bring me spaghetti bake.
I want some spaghetti bake.
It could just be regular spaghetti. I don't care. I like spaghetti.
Me too. So spaghetti. All right. We got it. So Louise goes to Pat's house, and Pat is straight up down for the count on the couch.
Yeah.
Can't move. Which, I mean, I guess I don't want to wish this on myself, but I'm I hope I wouldn't be that way. But at the same time, I think I would probably be that way.
That's understandable. You just lost your husband.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy to me that Betty is, not that Betty is so chipper and happy, but she's very with it. But Pat is not that way.
I wouldn't say with it. I would say she's trucking along. She's getting out of bed every morning. That's the best way I can think to describe what she's doing.
She's not good.
She's not, but she's getting out of bed every morning. If that makes sense.
That makes sense. So Louise goes over there a couple of times, and we even see that her niece, but her daughter, but it's actually Louise's niece. We learned about her tonight that her name is actually Judy, but whenever they took her in when Louise's sister died, Louise changed Judy's name to Alice because it sounded too much like their daughter Julie's name, which kind of just shows how really crazy Louise actually is.
Yeah.
Tonight we saw, we've been seeing her warm up, but tonight we saw more of her icy, your name is Alice, not Judy.
Alice.
Right?
You are grounded.
Don't take that tone with me. But so we see Alice kind of taking, I feel like I should call her Judy.
You should definitely call her Judy.
We see Judy, she kind of takes to one of Pat and Ed's sons, Ed Jr. they call him, and she goes over there and Louise shows up and Judy and Ed Jr. find Pat with a bottle of pills in her hand she had taken and completely non-responsive.
Yeah.
And so they call Louise, of course, and then
kids being slick too. Don't think we didn't catch that.
Oh yeah, they were going home because they thought Mama was out of the house.
Mom, coast is clear.
Your mom finally got her out of the house. Little Sneakies.
I know.
I'm like, I feel so bad for my future kids because I'm like, you think you're going to get away with something, but you're not.
You're not.
Because I know
You're
every
not.
trick. But then again, my mom probably thought the same thing.
Future kids, I'm already on you. I already know
got
what you're
you.
going to do. You're in trouble for it right now.
Getting a spanking. Oh, that's not allowed. I'm sorry. Anyway.
Okay, we'll come back to that.
So, they call Louise, obviously. Louise calls one of the, I think she was an Apollo wife, or she was a Gemini or Apollo wife, I don't know, Harriet, and she's a nurse, and basically, Pat's gonna be okay, which is kind of crazy to me, because I'm like, wait, she overdosed, and you're a nurse, and you just, like, shot her up. I feel like you have to, like, pump someone's stomach in that sense, but Pat didn't want the media to find out about it, so there you go. She's good. She's gonna be good. She's really sad, obviously, but she'll be okay. So on the main kind of what the entire episode was about was the investigation behind Gus's death, because at Gus's funeral, his coworker comes up or walks up to Betty and hugs her and says, they're not telling you everything that you should know or the whole thing, and gives him her phone number, or gives her his phone number, and it's like, meet me here at this time. Or she doesn't say that. He didn't say that then. But she approaches the other wives about it, and the other wives are like, there's nothing, Gus told you everything.
Yeah.
There's nothing that anyone could tell you that you didn't know about Gus. But, like, yeah, there is.
Well, Gus told you everything, but...
That's not something that Gus knew.
Yeah. Well, no. It is something he knew, because he said it was something wrong. So then, I guess he didn't tell you everything.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, he did, though.
Oh,
In the kitchen, remember?
there you go.
Yeah. But, okay, so they are... Obviously, an investigation has to go into exactly why this happened. And Deke and Alan, you know, they're not the astronauts anymore, but they are helping, or they're like the head honchos at this point, and they're kind of helping out.
They're the OGs.
They're the OGs. And we see Deke at Betty's house helping her with their bills, but it's so sad also to hear like, oh, you have the bowling club.
Well, no point. I don't have a partner.
But they're going to pay for her bowling club, so they're very sweet. And they also see a charge of $75. $75?
I know.
What's her reaction?
So much money.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's like a cubic zirconia. At this, in today's day,
You'd be
she's like,
happy
$75.
You're lucky to find a cell phone bill for that price.
I know, right? And so he says, Deke's like, you know what? I bet it's for you. Go to this store and see what it is. And it is a pendant that all of the astronauts have that has like a little diamond in it. And Betty's, you know, all the guys are like, they're like, every guy got this whenever they went up into space. Betty's like, why would he get me this? La la la. To be continued on that. But so basically, okay, so Betty has another flashback that makes her want to meet up with this guy that he works with.
Mystery man.
I forget what the second flashback was, but it was something about, it was out at the barbecue, and he's like, Gus is like, there's some things that you don't know.
Yeah.
So she meets up with him at the drive-in, and he says basically, or he kind of tells her about the memo that he wrote that says they were using this product that is extremely flammable, and Betty asks what happened to it, and he says, what do you think happened? Nothing. He said, spoke about how Gus made the multiple comments and nothing did anything, literally because they were just trying to get a brush on everything.
Yep.
So much stuff had been delayed already just with the building of it, and they didn't want to delay it anymore. So that's what they did, which is crazy to me.
And now Gus is dead.
Yeah. So they're having this congressional hearing to kind of really go over everything and look into it. And Betty shows up with, who is she with?
The Gemini wife who lost her husband.
Right, that I can't remember her name, but we'll remember it later. And they go to D.C. to these congressional hearings, and Dunk kind of meets her outside. Oh, before this, all she wanted was for NASA to say that they were putting the mission on hold until they could find out what happened. But that didn't happen whatsoever.
They had the press release that night that said that, we're going to keep moving. We're going to honor their memories by moving forward. with what they started.
Right. And then Joe's freaking out because Wally's up next, and they're just gonna go with it, even though this thing just caught on fire. Okay, that makes sense. But so they go to these congressional hearings, and obviously this is basically like NASA or the astronauts versus North American, the company that they contracted to build it, and the guy who from North American that they're interviewing says, and of course Betty walks in right at this time. Dunk tries to keep her out, but she says, I'm absolutely the number one person who should be here.
Yeah, and she walks in right when they're playing the recording of what happened during the accident.
I know. I kept trying to pick Gus's voice out, but I don't know his voice well enough. But so it's like they're saying...
He said, I'm on fire.
Or someone said, I'm burning up.
I'm burning up. Yeah, that's what it was.
Which, I wonder if that's... I mean, I'm sure they didn't use the actual recording, but I wonder if that's something that really happened. Even though it's a true story, like some things are, of course, thrown in there. But, we see that they're like fine at first, so they're, just talking, and then it's like, wait, there's a fire. Let's get out of here. We gotta get out of here. It's terrible. I can't imagine what it felt like to hear that.
In songs.
Huh?
They say it in songs. I'm burning up.
Yeah, but this is literal.
I know,
really
this
sad.
is somebody like literally on fire.
I know. So anyway, the guy from North American says that, or the person interviewing him, I guess if that's the correct word at this time, is
I don't think it's interview.
Judging him.
I think it's a...
It's a hearing, but what do you call it?
Yeah, it's a hearing.
You would say judging you. Asking him questions.
Yeah.
Interrogating. Okay, that's good. The guy that's
interrogating I think like light moving back and forth, police office.
Okay, Mr. Dragon Ball Z. The person that is asking him questions at this point is he says that why do you think the fire happened? Or he says that people are saying the fire happened because some wire wasn't prepared. But that's what that guy says, the guy from North American. But they're saying that hold on, I wrote it down. Hold on, I'll see exactly what they said. That Gus had even hung a lemon in the simulator to show that it was like a lemon, and that this thing was not good. Oh, and that the insulation was scraped off of the wire somehow, just like beforehand. And this North American guy says, that is a possibility, but there are other things, that's not what we believe to have happened. And the guy says, what do you think happened? And he says, we think someone kicked the wire, but it still doesn't matter. Which then would have caught it on fire. But I'm like, okay, so someone kicks a wire, you're going into space. Like you have to go through the atmosphere. Some stuff is gonna get jostled. Right. And just because someone kicked a wire, the whole thing catches on fire.
And then he had the nerve to say it was Gus's fault, which I got upset. Then my girl Betty got upset. She was about ready to whoop his ass. You see all that? She got up like.
Betty got real.
Talking about my man like that.
She also almost passed out for a second.
She did at the beginning, but this time, she went street on him. I was like, "Go ahead, Betty. I'm with you."
But she did not.
She didn't. She kept it. She kept it ladylike.
She's a lady.
Of you. She is.
Go, Betty.
You gotta let them know not to mess with you, Betty. That's what I'm talking about.
But you know what? We can go street on him.
Yeah, we can. They're not gonna remember.
Let's find him. He's like 80 years old now, but that's all right. Anyway, so they say, he says Gus, or who would have kicked the wire? Gus, his left foot was right next to the wire. Betty about to go street, but she doesn't go street, whatever. So she shows up at the bowling alley. It's Thursday night, bowling night, and tells Deke, and I think Wally was there. I don't think Louise and Alan were there. It was Joe and Wally. Yeah. And says what happened, and Deke is kind of like, I mean, because he's been really supportive throughout the episode. He's taken, when Betty showed up at their office, he said he would do everything he could. He even took Betty down to Gus's office. We don't see, but he says that he was doing that. Stuff, yeah. And she says, oh, what? It's out of your hands? Well, then whose hands is it in? Mm-hmm. And reminds him that when everyone was against him, whenever he was being knocked down, Gus stood up for him. Gus was actually one of the main ones.
Because he had the heart thing, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Gus was one of the main ones who said that he should be, head honcho of the astronauts. And then she looks at Joe and says, and Wally's next. And, of course, Joe's going to freak out.
Yeah. When she said that, for a slight second, I thought she was talking about Wally was next to bowl. And I was like, no, he just went. Betty,
Is it his turn?
And then I figured it out. She was talking about space.
Got it.
My bad.
That's all right. So throughout this episode, we see Alan and Louise are talking about how it's his 6-year anniversary and how they're throwing this party and it feels so wrong. Like, who throws a 6-year anniversary party? And then all this stuff has just happened.
Number to
I mean,
celebrate
5 seems a lot more
7,
legitimate.
10,
Not even
6. What's 6?
I don't know. Maybe the Russians did it and we decided we need to do it too.
I don't know. Maybe he's Jewish. Star David.
Maybe. Oh, there you go.
I don't know.
So we're at the party, and Alan gets up to speak, and he says, they watch a little video. He's like, this is, of course, like a great feat that we've accomplished, but, we want to honor our friend Gus. He's our family. So he brings Deke up to say a few words. And Deke says that this, how great of a guy Gus was, and Ed was, and Roger was, and that there's been a lot of speculation on whose fault this is, but that it's their fault, that it's NASA's fault, that it's North Americans' fault because they were trying to do something knowing that they shouldn't have. And even though, Gus didn't stop it, ultimately we do have to think of that. Even though Gus said, no, this is a terrible idea, all of the men still got in it. And so, you get, it's sad to think that you get that mindset of...
It's a great speech, by the way.
It is. Deke did really well. And I think it brought you to a few tears.
I got close. Okay.
You got...
If you just...
since
you want to just put it out there.
I saw some misting, but I don't know. So...
I did sneeze right before, but,
Yeah, that's what they all say. Deke says it was because of this, communication snafu, like a lot of stuff happened. And, basically if they want to honor all of the astronauts and the work that they've done, that they will slow it down.
If we were supposed to be in space, we would be able to go. Just like walk there. Or at least breathe in it. No? No?
Yes.
Okay, never mind.
Well, I mean, we have ultimately gone to space at this point.
Well, yeah.
Or gone to the moon. Well, so they say.
Oh, right. Oh, yeah.
And
then it's made of cheese and stuff like that. No. Okay.
Anyway, so... at the end of the episode, we actually end on a good note. Earlier, that the wife that I still can't remember her name right now. It's like
they go to Paris.
Yes, but she was telling her, the only way I got over my husband dying, because we saw her husband die last episode, was going on a trip. I had to create a memory without him in order to even think that I could possibly move on. And Betty, she just can't. She just can't. She has that last flashback at the bowling alley with Gus of him, basically telling her to move on, or flashback, dream, I guess. And then at the end, she wakes up and it's, you hear a teapot boiling or something like that, and I'm thinking it's going to be Gus again, but it's all the women with a big bon voyage sign, and they're saying, or she's finally going to Paris and taking her friend with her. And, she's clearly not getting a happy ending because her husband died, but at least she is, doing something that she always wanted to do. Yeah. And then Joe tells her, turn on the news. You won. They're slowing things down. They're pausing it. They're pausing Apollo. So, yay. Her entire, thing of going to the Congressional hearings worked. And I'm not sure what happens next because we're trying really hard not to read what happened in real life. So even with the knowledge that we have, I don't know, I didn't know that detail. So, but I'm getting flashbacks of the Apollo movie now. But yeah, so it ends on a happy note, and I'm happy for them. What do you think? Anything we missed?
No, I think
predictions.
Yeah. Let's do it.
And now,
all right, I'm going to find this comment from our last show while you tell me what you think is going to happen.
Right. Ready for this prediction? Okay.
Yeah, ready for this.
So, we're going to go to the moon, right? And then, when we get to the moon, we're going to find, craters.
What?
And inside of these craters...
You're terrible. Inside of the craters is going to be cheese?
How did you know?
I'm really smart like that.
Inside of the crate is going to be cheese, everybody. Swiss, mozzarella, provolone.
That's where we get our cheese from.
That's where our cheese comes from. That's why it's so expensive.
Little did we know. We thought it was cows this whole time. No. It's from the moon. Okay, so it is extremely hard to predict for the show because it's a real story. But I do want to read. Oh, hey Rick M, who says, April, you were correct that the microwave oven was invented in 1947. Thank you. I greatly appreciate it.
Shout out to you, Rick.
What up, Rick?
Thanks for watching, Rick.
Yes. He talks about this is the one I read the most, where he says the Man Gemini program ran through January 1967 that Gus, Roger, and Ed White died in the terrible fire that occurred on board the Apollo 1 spacecraft during ground testing. And then he talks about Ed, which is when we didn't really pick up. Millie Williams said, I cried when Gus died. Me too, Millie. And Darian2021 says, I love the show, but I hope in next week's episode, which would be tonight's episode, they don't just focus on Betty's grief. I hope they show Pat.
Sorry, brother.
Pat White, which they did show Pat. They did just focus on them.
Well, obviously not just, but she was the big kahuna in this episode.
And Martha Chaffee, we did not see her, I don't really think, or a lot anyway, so that we can see it all. And we didn't see much of Roger's wife, but we did see Pat, and of course we saw our girl Betty. And
we saw Trudy. Hey, girl.
Yeah. We didn't see much of her tonight, though, again.
We got to get that Trudy show popping off.
I'm thinking that, we have 2 episodes left, so this is made to be a 1-season show, they told us. So I think we're getting to the moon, and that's what's going to happen.
You know what? When we get to the moon, I'm bringing cheese for everybody.
Yeah?
String cheese.
Season finale?
Yeah.
String cheese.
Bringing cheese for everybody.
Why not block cheese?
Oh. Take what I give you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, Dad. All right, any final thoughts? Where can the people find you on Twitter, Instagram, all that jazz?
Guys, look, okay, this is what you need to do. You go on your Twitters, and you go on your Instagrams, and you type in Khalil Boo Boo, and then you hit that little follow button. You turn on Instagram it's green, on Twitter it's blue. So just make it happen.
You're such a social media expert.
I
love it.
Some people need it color coded. Like if I color code it, then they're like, oh, yeah.
That's good for me, because I'm really bad at it. Yeah. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at April Wissenhan. Of course, you can find us all on Twitter and Instagram at AfterBuzz TV. Download, comment. Of course, we love reading your comments, and you give us share. I always forget
Always forget to share.
You give us lots of information that we did not know.
Sharing
so thank you
caring,
for that.
Guys. Share the information. Share the video.
See y'all next week. 2 episodes left.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.